Recognize envy and falsehood in others. In the intricate dance of human relationships, few forces are as pervasive yet elusive as envy and falsehood. These twin currents, envy, the quiet resentment of another's fortune, and falsehood, the deliberate distortion of truth, shape interactions in ways both subtle and profound, often hiding beneath smiles, praise, or silence. From the glittering stages of celebrity rivalries to the hushed corridors of corporate deceit, they weave a thread through history and daily life, challenging our ability to discern motive from mask. To recognize them in others is not merely an act of self-preservation. It is a gateway to understanding the complexities of human nature, fostering resilience and building a world grounded in authenticity. This essay explores envy and falsehood through 5 lenses: their individual natures, their dangerous interplay, their stakes, and the strategies to unmask them. We begin with envy's hidden resentment, as seen in Kanye West's public jabs at Taylor Swift's meteoric rise, a rivalry that whispers of comparison's sting. Next, we delve into falsehood's artistry, exemplified by Lance Armstrong's years of denying doping, a lie that propped up a legend until it crumbled. The fusion of these traits emerges in Tonya Harding's envy-driven deception against Nancy Kerrigan, a scandal where resentment birthed betrayal. Why does this matter? The Theranos fraud, unraveled by Tyler Schultz's keen eye, proves recognition's power to shield us from ruin and uphold justice. Finally, strategies to identify them, honed in the scrutiny of Trump's 2020 election claims, offer practical tools for navigating a world of half-truths. These real-world tales anchor our journey, illuminating how envy and falsehood touch us all. In workplaces where colleagues vie for favor, in friendships strained by unspoken grudges, in societies swayed by misinformation. By dissecting their roots, signs, and remedies, we arm ourselves to face them, not with cynicism, but with clarity. For in a landscape of veiled intentions, the ability to see true stands as both shield and compass, guiding us toward trust, wisdom, and connection. 1. The nature of envy. A hidden resentment. Envy is a primal emotion, a silent undercurrent that flows through human interactions, often unnoticed until it surfaces in subtle or destructive ways. It is the bitter pang of longing for what another possesses, be it success, beauty, wealth, or joy, coupled with a resentment that their gain highlights one's own lack. Distinct from jealousy, which guards what is already ours, envy covets what belongs to another, thriving in the shadows of comparison and inadequacy. To recognize it in others is to understand its roots, its disguises, and its power, a task that demands both insight and vigilance. This section explores envy's essence, its psychological and social origins, its myriad manifestations, and its pervasive influence across contexts. Origins in psychology, the roots of envy. Envy is as old as humanity itself, etched into our evolutionary and social fabric. In prehistoric tribes, survival hinged on resources, food, mates, shelter, and comparing oneself to others gauged one's standing. Those with more thrived, those with less envied. This instinct persists, magnified by modern society's obsession with status. Social psychologist Leon Festinger's social comparison theory, 1954, explains this. Humans assess their worth against peers, especially when objective benchmarks are absent. When the scales tip unfavorably, your neighbor's mansion overshadows your modest home, envy ignites. Psychologically, envy is a cocktail of insecurity and desire. Alfred Adler, a founder of individual psychology, tied it to an inferiority complex. Feeling lesser drives a need to either surpass or diminish the other. A child outdone by a sibling's talents might grow into an adult who envies a colleague's accolades, the pattern rooted in early wounds. Neuroscience adds depth. Envy activates the anterior cingulate cortex, a region linked to pain and conflict, signaling a visceral sting when we perceive disparity. It's not just mental, it's physical, a bodily echo of perceived loss. Culture stokes this fire. In capitalist societies where success is a personal triumph, envy festers when others climb higher. Media amplifies it. Instagram's curated lives taunt us with unattainable ideals. In contrast, collectivist cultures might dampen overt envy, channeling it into quieter resentment to preserve harmony. Yet, the emotion's core transcends borders, a gnawing discontent with another's fortune, a mirror to our own perceived deficits. Manifestations of envy. The many masks. Envy rarely announces itself with a banner. It's a chameleon, blending into everyday behavior. One hallmark is subtle belittlement, praise laced with poison. Share a promotion, and an envious friend might reply, "That's great, but it's probably just timing." The faint praise shrinks your effort, easing their discomfort. It's a sleight of hand. Your light dims, their shadow lifts. Another sign is excessive competitiveness, not the healthy kind that spurs growth, but a desperate bid to outshine. A neighbor envious of your garden might plant a flashier one, not for love of flowers, but to reclaim parity. This isn't ambition, it's envy in motion, a race where your loss is their win. Schadenfreude, joy in your misfortune, is darker still. Trip up, a deal falls through, and their "oh, tough luck" might hide a gleam of relief. Your stumble balances their scales. Gossip is envy's quieter weapon. An envious classmate might whisper they only won because of favoritism, tarnishing your victory without facing you. It's cowardice cloaked as critique, a backdoor to leveling. Silence, too, speaks. When your good news meets a cold shrug, envy might lurk in the void. These manifestations shift by person. Some wield sharp tongues, others wield stillness, but all stem from the same root. Real-world examples. Envy in action. Envy peppers daily life. At work, a teammate might envy your corner office, masking it with nitpicks. Your presentation was okay, but the data's weak. Their critique isn't help, it's a salve for their lag. In families, a cousin might resent your overseas trip, dismissing it as extravagant, while secretly. Socially, a friend's envy of your new relationship might surface as, "They're not that great," a jab at your joy. Historically, envy drives drama. The rivalry between Mozart and Salieri, whether factual or mythologized in Amadeus, paints it vividly. Salieri's envy of Mozart's genius allegedly spurred sabotage, a composer's talent undone by another's spite. Literature teems with it. Cain's envy of Abel's favor ends in murder. These extremes echo in milder forms. A student envious of a peer's scholarship might forget to share notes, their petty act a shadow of ancient wrath. Online, envy thrives. A viral post might spark a followers it's overhyped, their resentment veiled as opinion. Each case varies, public sniping, private brooding, but the thread is clear. Envy seeks to bridge the gap by lifting oneself or pulling another down. Cultural variations, envy across borders. Culture colors envy's hue. In Japan, a collectivist ethos might mute it into passive resentment. A coworker envies your raise but nods politely, their silence a shield. In the US, individualism emboldens it. A rival might openly challenge your win, their envy a badge of competition. Religion shapes it too. Christianity brands envy as sin, driving it underground. Secular ambition flaunts it as fuel. Gender plays a role. Studies suggest men's envy often targets status that women's appearance, though overlap abounds. Age shifts it. Youth envy peers' flair, elders their vitality. Context tweaks the lens, but envy's essence, a hunger for another's edge, holds firm. Psychological depth. Beyond the surface, envy's complexity deepens with analysis. Sigmund Freud saw it as tied to rivalry, a child's envy of a parent's power echoing into adulthood. Modern research, like that of Richard Smith, splits it into benign envy, inspiring effort, and malicious envy, spurring harm. A friend might envy your marathon medal and train harder, or slash your tires. Intent hinges on self-esteem. Secure souls rise, fragile ones ruin. Envy's pain is real. MRI scans show it mimics physical hurt, a stab when comparison cuts. It's not petty, it's primal, a survival echo twisted by modernity. Yet it's Janus-faced. It can motivate. A rival's book spurs your own, or devastate. Their success sours yours. Recognizing which rules the other's mind is key. Practical recognition, spotting the signs. To see envy, look past words. Tone betrays a clipped congrats or a strained laugh. Timing matters. Criticism peaks post-triumph, glee post-fall. Eyes reveal a flicker of disdain, a refusal to meet yours. Actions clinch it, support withheld, rivalry overdone. It's a mosaic. One tile is noise, the full picture is envy. Test it subtly. Flaunt a win, I aced the test, and watch. A tight smile, a who cares. Envy peeks out. Compare their lows to your highs. Do they bristle when you soar? It's not paranoia, it's pattern seeking, a map to their mind. Why it matters here. Grasping envy's nature sets the stage. It's not just a foe to spot, it's a force to fathom. Knowing its roots, insecurity, compare guises, snubs, sabotage, primes you for the hunt. It's step 1. See it clear. Then tackle it wise. The rest, falsehood, interplay, stakes, strategies, builds on this bedrock. 2. Falsehood, the art of deception. Falsehood, the deliberate crafting of untruths, is a dynamic force in human behavior, wielded to obscure, manipulate, or protect. Unlike envy's internal simmer, falsehood is an outward act, a performance of deceit ranging from small fibs to elaborate hoaxes. Using the lens of envy's framework, we can dissect its origins, manifestations, and implications, revealing its artistry and its stakes. From Lance Armstrong's doping denials to everyday evasions, falsehood shapes our world, demanding recognition to pierce its veil. Origins and psychology, the roots of falsehood. Falsehood's roots intertwine with survival and social dynamics, much like envy's evolutionary echo. In early human societies, deception offered advantages, hiding weakness from rivals or feigning strength to secure allies. Today, this instinct persists, adapted to modern pressures. Psychologist Bella DePaulo's research shows adults lie daily, often to avoid conflict or gain favor, suggesting falsehood is an ingrained coping mechanism. Psychologically, lying engages complex processes. It activates the prefrontal cortex, juggling memory, the truth, creativity, the lie, and inhibition, suppressing tells. Robert Triver's theory of self-deception posits that we lie best when we believe our own fabrications, a trait Lance Armstrong exemplified. Denying doping so convincingly, he may have half believed his innocence. Fear, shame, or ambition drive this. Armstrong's falsehoods shielded his legacy, a psychological shield against disgrace. Unlike envy's comparison-driven pain, falsehood stems from control, a bid to rewrite reality for oneself or others. Manifestations, the many masks of falsehood. Falsehood wears myriad guises, adapting to intent and audience. Its simplest form is the white lie, I love your cooking, softening truth for harmony. More calculated is the omission, Armstrong's silence on his drug use until cornered. Bold lies like his I've never doped claims, project defiance, while half-truths, I trained harder than anyone, blend fact with fiction, muddying waters. Nonverbal cues often betray it. A faltering gaze, a nervous laugh, or Armstrong's steely composure cracking under Oprah's 2013 probe. Verbal slips, overly detailed alibis, or vague deflections signal its presence. Unlike envy's passive snubs, falsehood is active, a crafted narrative shifting with the stakes, from fleeting excuses to sustained fraud. Real-world examples. Falsehood in action. Lance Armstrong's saga is a stark case. From 1999 to 2005, he won 7 Tour de France titles, denying doping allegations with unwavering conviction. His 2013 confession, after years of lawsuits and evidence, unmasked a lie that fooled fans, sponsors, and regulators. Beyond sports, consider Elizabeth Holmes of Theranos, who in the 2010s falsely claimed her device could revolutionize blood testing, duping investors until exposed in 2018. In personal life, a friend might dodge a meetup with "I'm sick," later spotted out, their lie a small but telling deceit. These cases span scales, but all showcase falsehood's reach. Cultural variations. Falsehood across borders. Culture shapes falsehood's flavor. In high-context societies like Japan, indirect lies, saying "I'll think about it" for no, preserve face, a a softer deceit than Western bluntness. In the US, Armstrong's bold denials fit a culture valuing bravado. His falsehoods were a performance of strength. Collectivist norms might favor lies for group harmony, we're all fine, while individualistic ones prioritize self-interest. I earned this alone. Religion tempers it. Christian guilt might curb lying, while secular pragmatism excuses it. Gender and age tweak it too. Men might lie for status, women for connection, youth for rebellion, elders for peace, but the act's core remains universal. Psychological depth, beyond the surface. Falsehood's complexity rivals envy's. Freud linked it to repression, hiding truths we can't face, while modern studies like Paul Ekman's spotlight microexpressions, a lip twitch, a fleeting squint that leak despite control. Armstrong's calm facade hid a storm. His lies were a narcissist's armor, as psychologist Sam Vaknin might argue, protecting a fragile ego. Deception splits into types: protective, covering shame; exploitative, gaining power; or compulsive, habitual, as in pathological liars. Its cost is cognitive. Lying taxes the brain, risking slips, yet its reward is temporary mastery over perception. Unlike envy's inward ache, falsehood's tension is outward, a gamble on belief. Practical recognition, spotting the signs. To catch falsehood, mimic envy's hunt, but tweak the focus. Listen for cracks. Armstrong's "I passed every test" unraveled when tests evolved. Watch the body. His steady voice clashed with later guilt. Probe gently. Oprah's "Did you dope?" forced a shift from denial to confession. Track pack patterns. His excuses grew thin over years. Context is king. Doping rumors swelled as his wins piled up, a liar's pressure point. Unlike envy's quiet tells, falsehoods are dynamic. Test them, and they buckle. In daily life, a friend's "I forgot" might falter under "when," a lie's fragility exposed. Why it matters here. Grasping falsehood's artistry lays the groundwork for its defeat. Armstrong's tale warns us, lies build empires but crumble under truth. In practice, this means doubting the salesman's pitch, checking the colleague's claim, or sensing the partner's dodge. It's not cynicism, it's clarity, a shield against manipulation. Understanding its roots, fear, gain, and signs, slips, strain, primes us for the next steps, seeing its dance with envy, weighing its stakes, and arming ourselves to cut through. In a world where truth bends, this knowledge is power. 3. The interplay between envy and falsehood. Envy and falsehood, when intertwined, form a volatile alchemy, transforming personal discontent into calculated deception. Envy ignites the spark, a visceral resentment of another's success, while falsehood fans it into action, weaving lies to conceal or capitalize on that bitterness. This interplay isn't mere coincidence. It's a deliberate fusion, as seen in Tonya Harding's envy-driven deceit against Nancy Kerrigan. By dissecting this dynamic through envy's lens, its origins, signs, and stakes, we can better grasp its mechanics and master its detection, turning a hidden threat into a known adversary. Origins and psychology, the roots of the interplay. The interplay stems from a psychological nexus where envy's pain seeks falsehood's relief. Envy, per Festinger's social comparison theory, arises when we measure ourselves against others and fall short. Harding envied Kerrigan's poise, media adoration, and Olympic promise. This disparity festers, but society frowns on admitting it. Enter falsehood. Robert Triver's self-deception theory illuminates this. Harding likely convinced herself Kerrigan's edge was unfair, justifying lies to mask her role in the attack. It's a coping mechanism. Envy's shame demands a narrative shift, and falsehood delivers. Brain science backs this. Envy triggers the anterior cingulate cortex, pain, while lying engages the prefrontal cortex, control. Together, they're a double hit. Harding's envy wasn't passive. It birthed a plot, her denials a shield against exposure. Psychologist Melanie Greenberg notes that envy often externalizes as aggression when paired with deceit, a pattern clear in Harding's escalation from resentment to sabotage. Unlike envy's solitary root, this interplay thrives in rivalry's heat, where losing face fuels lying to win. Manifestations, the many masks of the interplay. This fusion manifests as a sly chameleon. Envy might simmer in Harding's gritted, "She's not better," but falsehood cloaks it, "I'd never hurt her." It's a two-step. Envy pinpoints the target, falsehood crafts the cover. The 1994 attack on Kerrigan wasn't spontaneous. Harding's team planned it. Her public tears a lie to dodge blame. Subtler signs include fake praise, "Nancy's amazing," paired with sabotage, or gossip, "She's overhyped," to erode the rival's glow. Unlike envy's lone snubs or falsehood's solo slips, this interplay is a tandem act, a warm handshake hiding a cold intent, as Harding played the victim while her ex-husband swung the baton. It's fluid. Envy's glare morphs into falsehood's smile, a seamless mask that demands sharp eyes to spot. Real-world examples, the interplay in action. The Harding-Kerrigan scandal of 1994 is the gold standard. Harding, envious of Kerrigan's elegance and favored status, stood by as her ex-husband Jeff Gillooly and bodyguard Sean Eckard orchestrated an assault on Kerrigan's knee before the U.S. Championships. Post-attack, Harding's "I knew nothing" plea, despite evidence of her awareness, fused envy's motive, toppling a rival, with falsehood's shield, denying guilt. She pleaded guilty to hindering prosecution, her lies crumbling under FBI scrutiny. Beyond skating, take Bernie Madoff's Ponzi scheme, 2008. Envy of legitimate financiers' success drove him to fake returns, deceiving clients for decades. In personal life, a friend might envy your new job, lying about their own big break to compete. These cases tie envy's grudge to falsehood's web, from ice rinks to Wall Street to coffee chats. Cultural variations. The interplay across borders culture molds this blend's expression. In collectivist China, envy of a peer's promotion might hide in silent lies. We're all thriving to keep harmony. In individualistic America, Harding's envy erupted boldly. Her falsehoods a defiant, "I'm innocent," fitting a win-at-all-costs ethos. Hierarchical cultures might see envy of bosses masked in flattery, "You deserve it," while egalitarian ones spark lies to drag peers down, as Harding did. Religion tempers it. Islamic honor might curb overt deceit, secular ambition might stoke it. Age and gender shift it. Youth's envy might lie brashly, elders more subtly, but the interplay's core crosses all lines. Psychological depth beyond the surface. This duo digs into the psyche's dark corners. Alfred Adler's inferiority complex fits. Harding felt lesser than Kerrigan's polished image, her envy a cry for parity. Falsehood layered on. Paul Ekman's micro-expression research suggests her calm denials hid guilt's flicker, a liar's strain atop envy's ache. Melanie Klein's envy theory adds depth. It's not just wanting Kerrigan's spot, but hating her for having it, a malice falsehood masked with shock at the attack. Cognitively, it's a juggle. Envy's emotional load plus deceit's mental tax. Harding's plot and cover-up show intent. Envy wasn't enough. Falsehood weaponized it. Unlike envy's passive burn, this is active destruction, a psyche turning inward pain into outward chaos, rooted in rivalry's zero-sum game. Practical recognition. Spotting the signs. Catching this requires a dual lens. Start with envy's tells. Harding's clipped praise of Kerrigan hinted at resentment. Add falsehood's cracks. Her "I didn't know" faltered as witnesses spoke. Test it. What happened that night might have drawn defensiveness, envy's fuel leaking through. Patterns clinch it. Her support waned as Kerrigan rose, lies thickened post-attack. Context ties it. The Olympic stakes amped envy, the assault birthed deceit. In daily life, a colleague's "congrats after your win" paired with rumors flags the mix. Probe, "What'd you hear?" and watch. Envy sours, falsehood stumbles. Unlike envy's quiet or falsehood solo, this needs both unmasked together, a dance revealed in step. Why it matters here. This interplay's grasp is critical. Harding's envy alone bruised feelings. With falsehood, it broke a knee and a career. In practice, it's the friend who envies your love life and lies to spoil it, or the rival who resents your sales and fakes stats to beat you. Recognizing this fusion, its trigger, envy, its tool, falsehood, stops it cold. Confront, "I see through this," or sidestep, limit trust, and you dodge its blade. It links envy's spark to falsehood's flame, setting up why it wounds and how we fight back. In a world of veiled wars, this insight is armor. 4. Why recognition matters. Recognizing envy and falsehood in others transcends mere observation. It's a vital skill that shields, clarifies, and empowers us across life's domains. It's not just about spotting a lie or a grudge. It's about understanding their stakes, from personal peace to societal trust. The Theranos scandal, where Tyler Schultz's recognition of deceit toppled a billion-dollar fraud, anchors this truth. Through envy's lens, its roots, signs, and depth, we unravel why this matters, turning awareness into action in a world rife with hidden motives. Origins and psychology, the roots of recognition's importance. The need to recognize envy and falsehood springs from human vulnerability and interdependence. Psychologically, we're wired for trust. Evolutionary psychologists like Robert Kurzban argue it fostered cooperation in early societies. Yet, this trust leaves us open. Envy exploits it with resentment, falsehood with betrayal. The Theranos case shows this. Investors trusted Elizabeth Holmes' vision, blind to her lies, until Schultz saw through. Recognition counters this naivety, a survival tool honed by experience. Sigmund Freud's defense mechanism theory fits. We deny others' malice to avoid pain, but recognition pierces that denial. It's a cognitive shift, moving from passive faith to active discernment, as Schultz did, spotting Holmes' falsehoods amid her charm. Unlike envy's origin and comparison, this skill's root is self-preservation, a psychological armor against manipulation's sting, vital in trust-based bonds. Manifestations. The many masks of why it matters. Recognition's value shows in its outcomes. It manifests as protection. Schultz's whistleblowing shielded him from legal fallout and saved investors from deeper losses. Its clarity. He saw Holmes's revolutionary tech as a sham, cutting through hype. Its growth. His doubt turned to courage, a lesson in integrity. In daily life, it's a friend's envy-driven snub ignored, preserving your confidence, or a liar's excuse debunked, saving your time. Unlike envy's subtle digs, this importance is tangible. Missed envy festers into self-doubt, unseen falsehood breeds betrayal. Schultz's story proves it. Recognition stopped a spiral, a ripple from one mind to millions. It's less a mask than a mirror, reflecting what's at stake when we see true. Real-world examples. Recognition in action. Theranos 2018 is the cornerstone. Elizabeth Holmes promised a blood testing miracle, raising $9 billion by 2014. But Schultz, a young employee, spotted her lies. Faulty machines, faked results. His recognition, shared with regulators, toppled her empire, sparing countless patients from misdiagnosis. Beyond tech, consider Watergate 1972. Reporters Woodward and Bernstein recognized Nixon aides' falsehoods, exposing envy-driven power grabs, ending a presidency. In personal life, a spouse might catch a partner's envy-fueled infidelity lies, halting emotional ruin. These cases show recognition's reach: personal, professional, political. Cultural variations, recognition across borders. Culture shapes recognition's urgency. In collectivist Vietnam, spotting envy in family, she's showing off, might preserve harmony, avoiding rifts. In individualistic America, Schultz's solo stand fits a culture prizing autonomy. His recognition was a personal triumph. Hierarchical societies demand it to navigate power. Envy from below, lies from above, while egalitarian ones like Scandinavia use it to maintain trust's parity. Religion tweaks it. Buddhist mindfulness aids detection, Christian forgiveness might delay it. Age and gender shift focus. Youth spot peers' envy, elders' leaders' lies, but its necessity spans all, a universal shield. Psychological depth beyond the surface. Recognition's depth lies in emotional intelligence, EQ. Daniel Goleman's EQ model, self-awareness, social awareness, frames it. Schultz knew his unease, read Holmes' deceit. Carl Jung's shadow concept adds, seeing envy and falsehood in others mirrors our own, as Holmes' lies echoed her envy of legit innovators. It's a dual process. Envy's pain, anterior cingulate cortex, and falsehood's strain, prefrontal cortex demand we decode both, a mental lift that builds resilience. Missed recognition wounds. Studies like those in Psychological Bulletin link unchecked manipulation to anxiety. Schultz's act wasn't just practical, it was psychological liberation, a refusal to be gaslit. Unlike envy's inward root, this is outward power, a mind reclaiming agency from deceit's fog. Practical recognition, spotting the signs. How do we apply this? For Schultz, it was intuition. Holmes's claims felt off. Then evidence. Machines failed, data fudged. Test it, he questioned, got evasions. Patterns emerged. Consistent hype, no proof. Context clinched it. Theranos stakes, health, money, screamed fraud. In life, spot envies you don't deserve it or falsehoods, trust me, with the same lens. Feel the vibe, check the facts, ask why now. A boss's promise, a friend's grudge, recognition flags them, a daily radar for truth. Unlike envy's quiet hunt, this is proactive. Doubt the pitch, verify the tale. Schultz's method, observe, test, act, works anywhere, turning suspicion into certainty with practice. Why it matters here. This stakes clarity is the crux. Theranos didn't just cost money, it risked lives. Schultz's recognition stopped that. In practice, it's the scam you dodge, the toxic tie you cut, the vote you weigh. Missing envy erodes self. Missing falsehood hands power to liars. Knowing why it matters, protection, clarity, growth, ties envy's spark and falsehood's flame to real loss or gain. It's not abstract. It's the job you keep, the trust you build, the chaos you avert. In a world of masks, this skill isn't optional. It's essential, a bridge from understanding to thriving. Strategies for identification. Recognizing envy and falsehood demands more than intuition. It requires a deliberate toolkit of strategies, honed to pierce their veils. From gut feelings to pattern tracking, these methods turn suspicion into certainty, empowering us to navigate a world of hidden motives. The 2020 U.S. election, where fact-checkers unmasked Trump's fraud claims, exemplifies their power. Through envy's lens, its root signs and stakes, we dissect these strategies, revealing how they work and why they're indispensable in daily life. Origins and psychology, the roots of identification strategies. The need for identification strategies arises from human complexity and deceit's prevalence. Evolutionary psychology, per Robert Kurzban, suggests we're wired to trust for survival, yet this leaves us prey to envy's resentment and falsehood's guile. Strategies emerge as a counter. Psychologist Paul Ekman's work on lie detection shows we can train ourselves to spot incongruities, a skill fact-checkers used against Trump's I won claims. It's a cognitive evolution. Intuition, amygdala's alerts, meets analysis, prefrontal cortex's reasoning. Sigmund Freud's reality testing concept fits. We learn to distinguish truth from distortion through experience, as journalists did, doubting Trump's narrative. Unlike envy's origin and comparison, these strategies root in skepticism, a psychological shift from passive belief to active scrutiny, born of necessity in a mistrustful age. Manifestations, the many masks of strategies. These strategies manifest as a multi-step process. Intuition flags unease. Fact-checkers sense Trump's bravado masked loss. Patterns emerge. His repeated, rigged cries lacked proof. Testing probes. Where's the evidence? Drew bluster, not facts. Context ties it. Post-election pressure fueled his lies. In daily life, it's a friend's envy caught in a sour good for you, or a liar's I was there undone by shaky details. Unlike envy's subtle tells, these strategies are active tools. A gut check, a question, a fact hunt. Trump's case shows them in concert. Each step peeled back a layer. A systematic unmasking that's less a mask than a method, revealing truth beneath deception. Real-world examples. Strategies in action. The 2020 election is a masterclass. Trump claimed widespread voter fraud in states like Pennsylvania, asserting we won by a lot. Fact-checkers felt the dissonance. Intuition flagged his tone. Patterns showed consistent claims, no data. They tested, show the ballots, and got lawsuits, not proof. Context sealed it. His loss drove the narrative. PolitiFact and others debunked him, a real-time strategy win. Beyond politics, take Jussie Smollett, 2019. He faked a hate crime, but police used patterns, inconsistent stories, tests, witnesses, and context, career woes to unravel it. In personal life, a coworker's "I finished it" might falter under when strategies at work. These cases prove their reach from headlines to hallways. Cultural variations, strategies across borders. Culture shapes how we wield these tools. In collectivist Japan, intuition might quietly note peers' envy, testing done via subtle hints to save face. In individualistic America, fact-checkers boldly challenged Trump, fitting a confrontational ethos. Hierarchical societies like India might track patterns in power plays, envy from below, lies from above, while egalitarian ones like Sweden test openly for fairness. Religion tweaks it. Islamic caution might slow probing, secular skepticism speeds it. Age and gender adjust, youth test peers brashly, women might lean on intuition, but the strategies flex globally, a universal lens. Psychological depth beyond the surface. These strategies tap deep psychology. Daniel Goleman's emotional intelligence, EQ, self-awareness, social awareness, underpins them. Fact-checkers knew their doubt, read Trump's bluster. Carl Jung's shadow fits. Spotting deceit mirrors our own flaws, refining our lens. Neuroscience adds intuition, amygdala, flags threats. Analysis cortex confirms Trump's lies triggered both, a dual process honed by practice. Missing them risks harm. Psychological science links unchecked lies to stress. The election's debunking wasn't just fact, it was mental clarity, a refusal to be swayed. Unlike envy's inward ache, this is outward mastery, a psyche turning chaos into order through deliberate skill. Practical recognition. Spotting the signs. How do we apply this? Start with intuition. Trump's I-1 felt off. Track patterns. His fraud claims echoed Sand's evidence. Test where's the proof and watch deflection, not data. Context. His defeat nails it. In life, feel a friend's envy in a cold nice. Note their jabs post-win. Ask what's up. Evasion flags deceit. A boss's "trust me" gets a how. Patterns of vague promises unravel. Unlike envy's passive hunt, this is hands-on. Sense, observe, probe, frame. Trump's case, doubt, check, challenge, works anywhere. A daily drill turning hunches into truth. Why it matters here. These strategies' worth is their yield. Trump's lies could have swayed democracy. Fact-checkers stopped that. In practice, it's the scam you sidestep, the rival you outsmart, the trust you keep. Without them, envy festers, falsehood wins. Your job, your peace, your vote hang in the balance. Knowing how to spot them ties envy's spark and falsehood's smoke to real stakes. It's not theory, it's the call you verify, the grudge you dodge, the world you clarify. In a maze of motives, this toolkit isn't luxury. It's lifeline, a path from guesswork to grip. Conclusion. The unseen mirror and the unyielding light. In the shadowed corners of human interaction, envy and falsehood weave a tapestry of quiet disruption, resentments unspoken, truths unmoored. From Kanye West's veiled barbs at Taylor Swift's ascent to Lance Armstrong's crafted denials of a tainted legacy, from Tonya Harding's envy-fueled deceit against Nancy Kerrigan to Elizabeth Holmes' fraudulent empire undone by Tyler Schultz's clarity, and from Donald Trump's election lies pierced by relentless fact-checking, we see a pattern. These forces are not anomalies, but constants, threads in the fabric of our social existence. To recognize them is not merely to name them, it is to hold a mirror to our own frailties and a torch to the world's obfuscations, a dual act of revelation and redemption. This journey through envy's nature, falsehood's artistry, their perilous interplay, their stakes, and the strategies to unmask them, unveils a profound truth. What we seek to detect in others echoes within us all. Envy's sting, as Kanye's rivalry hints, is universal, a pang of wanting that humbles us. Falsehood's craft, as Armstrong's tale warns, is a temptation we've all brushed against, a lie to shield or to shine. Harding's fusion of the two reminds us how easily resentment turns to ruin when cloaked in deceit, while Schultz's stand against Theranos proves recognition can halt that tide. Not just for one, but for many. Trump's debunked claims teach us that strategies, intuition honed, patterns traced, truths tested, turn chaos into clarity, a bulwark against manipulation's sway. Yet this is more than a skill. It's a reckoning. To see envy and falsehood is to confront our vulnerability. The trust we give too freely, the doubts we bury too deep. It's a call to rise above, not with cynicism that hardens the heart, but with wisdom that sharpens the mind. In practice, it's the courage to question a friend's sudden chill, the resolve to verify a promise's weight, the strength to walk from a liar's snare. It's the parent who spots a child's envy and teaches grace, the voter who sifts fact from fiction to guard a nation's soul, the soul who chooses truth when deceit tempts near. In a world where masks abound, some of envy's making, others of falsehood's design, recognition is our unyielding light. It does not banish these shadows, it illuminates them, offering not just survival but sovereignty over our choices. For in naming what hides, we claim what matters. A life not dictated by others' grudges or guile, but defined by our own unwavering clarity. A legacy not of what we've lost to deception, but of what we've gained through discernment.